The first season of Thousand Pound Sisters told the touching story of two high school sweethearts who drifted apart after graduation, found each other again, fell in love, eloped, and then 2 years later invited their families and friends to witness their commitment to each other for the rest of their lives. There was no hope for their relationship. Court proceedings have begun over the dissolution of Amy Slaton and Michael's marriage and the allocation of parental responsibilities for their two children. Amy shares her experiences as a single parent during and after her contentious divorce and child custody struggle. Michael was the picture of dedication during the premiere of Thousand Pound Sisters on TLC. Tammy had just undergone a radical change following her operation and could walk independently, but in the beginning, things were different. Because of her weight, even movements like walking were challenging for her. Because of this, she had to use a wheelchair and rely on others to get around. Michael was really kind in letting Tammy stay with them so that Amy could assist take care of her. When Amy wasn't available or needed a break, he took on the role of caring for his sister-in-law, who was very difficult to cope with. Michael showed his support for Amy's weight loss efforts by spending his own spare time with her, driving her and her sister to doctor's appointments, and encouraging her to keep up with her diet and exercise routines until she was at a healthy weight for carrying their first child. Up until the birth of their first child, Gage, in the second season, Michael played the role of resident saint and model husband. Amy claims that while he was unemployed, he abandoned the household and left her to care for their children and pay for everything. Fans confirmed her suspicions after the birth of their second child, Glenn, but by that point the situation had already worsened significantly. While Amy was in the hospital giving birth to Glenn, Michael was tested and found to have COVID-19. She stayed with Amanda, her sister, after being released from the hospital, waiting for Michael to heal and test negative. Amy came home from the hospital with both her baby and her toddler to find that the house had not been cleaned in over a week. Meanwhile, Michael stated that the worst thing he was experiencing was a light headache here and there. Fans criticized Michael's behavior and agreed with Amy when she said she felt like she had 3 children because of the chaos Michael caused at home while she was recovering from a C-section and caring for their 2 young children. Throughout the season, Michael repeatedly displayed a lack of concern and awareness for Amy's efforts to care for the family. There was a specific incident that got many angry and rooting for Amy to break up with Michael. Her family was enjoying the evening in Amy and Michael's backyard. Both kids started whining as they sat down to dinner. Gage was weeping and Glenn was hungry and asking for a bottle. Michael continued eating indifferently as his sleep-deprived wife sought to soothe their screaming children. Amy felt Michael was more interested in playing with the other kids than in calming down one of her charges. Amanda had to step in and help Amy with Gage while she fed and changed Glenn's diaper in order to settle down the boys. Amy was already on the verge of breaking down when this happened. The incident in February, when Michael became angry and violent, was the final straw for Amy. Amy had gotten herself and the kids ready to go out to lunch with Tammy on the fateful day. But Michael was against it, and that sparked the fight that ultimately terminated their marriage. Amy called the police because Michael began throwing objects during their disagreement. Amy, whose marriage to Michael was crumbling, said that he had abused their sons by beating and yanking their hands, failed to meet the family's financial commitments, and forced her to do all the housework. After some time, she charged Michael with domestic abuse and asked the court for an immediate restraining order. Michael filed for divorce from Amy in March after realizing their marriage was hopeless. Around the same time, Amy sought to have Michael's contact with Gage and Glenn prohibited by filing a protective order. But Michael opposed the ruling, saying that he and Amy had shared the responsibility of caring for the children since they were born and that he should be allowed visitation rights. He also hoped that the court would enable him to split custody with Amy. Soon after, she changed her mind and altered the order to allow Michael's supervised visitation with the children. The judge determined that Michael could visit the kids, but only if his mother and sister went with him. A month after Michael filed for divorce in March, he went back to court to ask for a civil restraining order to keep Amy away from him. He sought the restraining order so that he and Amy could not live within 500 feet of each other or discuss the divorce and custody petitions in public or on social media. Additionally, He requested that the court issue an order allowing him to enter his and Amy's home to retrieve his personal belongings and a parenting schedule that would divide the children's time between him and Amy. The divorce between Amy and Michael has not been finalized, but Amy is doing okay and looking forward to the future. Recent social media posts show that she is moving forward with a newfound confidence and optimism after the breakdown of her marriage. Amy's dramatic haircut is a manifestation of the rebirth that she has experienced as a woman. She just changed her hair color to a striking purple that has everyone talking. The new photos showcase her vibrant new hair color, which complements the aura of self-assurance and optimism she exudes. She has taken to sharing upbeat self-portraits on her various social media platforms, with encouraging captions about finding strength in one's struggles and moving on. She has been known to pair self-portraits with edgy and explicit songs like Bad Bitch by Lexi Pantera. The divorce and custody hearings are still ongoing, and the recent appearance was scheduled for June 1. Amy has decided to drop the domestic violence accusations she originally filed against Michael. Michael's motion for temporary shared custody has also been approved by the court. To coordinate Gage and Glenn's pickups and drop-offs and other matters, the pair is permitted to use court-monitored text messaging. But Amy is fighting Michael's bid for permanent joint custody, citing the importance of stability for the kids and suggesting that Michael is abandoning his role as a father in favor of his mother's. Amy's unwavering commitment to her kids is inspiring. Most of her time is devoted to taking care of the boys, who clearly adore her based on the social media posts she often makes featuring them. She is motivated to make sure her boys know how much she loves them because of her own difficult childhood, which included abuse and neglect at her mother's hands. The latest video she posted of Gage helping her clean the house with a toy vacuum cleaner is evidence that, in addition to loving them, she is also teaching them independence and responsibility. Amy is making time for self-care and self-love, despite the fact that she focuses most of her efforts on the boys. She occasionally posts photos and recaps of her wild evenings out with her pals before returning home to her husband and 2 sons. Even though she and Michael are in court fighting over custody of their children, Amy is delighted to be parenting her 2 boys on her own. She's loving life without Michael, according to her new bio, in which she also reveals that she's a single mother. She will undoubtedly keep flourishing as long as her loved ones are there to back her up.